Hello there, and welcome to the first episode of UPT, Ultimate Piggy Timelines, the series where we break down and explain the timeline of your favorite characters. Now, we all know about Tigry, a fan favorite character that is mentioned in multiple different chapters, as well as having multiple different models for just one character alone. And he's technically the second antagonist behind Willow for the first half of Book 2. But what's his true origin that eventually lead to a spin-off game? Well, I'll gladly explain. I'll also be putting the chapters from the main Piggy game on this corner so you guys can have an easier understanding on when these events take place. But anyways, let's talk about Tigry. You see, Tigry didn't have the best childhood when he was younger. He was bullied at school, and his parents didn't seem to care about him and just straight up ignore him. And even when he accomplishes something, his parents didn't seem to care, but he did have a friend named Rash. And because of his neglectful parents and constantly being bullied at school, it eventually led him to make a decision to run away. And as Tigry was walking down the streets, as an official runaway child, he noticed a poster from the Lucella military offering people to join the military. And since Tigry doesn't even have a penny to his name, he tries to join the military so he can at least have some sort of shelter he can stay in and hopefully get taken care of. And luckily for Tigry, the military offers him to stay, but as a result, he had to be consistently training in order for him to be a part of the army. This is also where he meets his friend and ally, Danny the donkey. Now, after years of training, Tigry becomes an official soldier of the Lucella military and is soon later drafted into war along with Danny, and their mission was to invade an enemy base as well as dodging bombs coming from the sky. Both soldiers manage to get to the entrance of the base, and Tigry decides to go in first, but it turns out the floor was a fake, and Tigry goes straight down into an underground base, separating the two soldiers. Tigry lets his ally know that he's okay, and Danny tries to find another way to get in the base. Tigry then starts to explore the place, and shortly after, he starts to hallucinate a creature walking around the base, which Tigry tries to avoid at all times. Well, he tries to get the hell out of there and regroup with Danny, but as he keeps exploring the base, he starts to get flashbacks from his childhood and his time of training in the military. But these memories have some sort of corrupted attachment added to them. Now, this could be because of Tigry's PTSD throughout the war, as well as his childhood, which still seems to haunt him to his very moments, but it's actually because of Tio and the insolence, because the creature that chases Tigry throughout the base is confirmed to be part of the insolence. But anyways, as Tigry explores the base, he managed to find a dagger which he uses to fight against the creature, and once he manages to attack the creature, it seems like he killed it, but instead he stabbed his ally Danny, who managed to find another way inside the base, and looking at how big this dagger is, it of course instantly kills Danny. And since the creature was made by the insolence, that would mean everything from the corrupted memories and the puzzles were all an illusion. It's possible Tio was giving Tigry the Georgie treatment, which puts Tigry in a very bad situation. If the military finds out he killed Danny, he'll be seen as a traitor and possibly be behind bars. And combine this guilt and regret from Danny's death with the PTSD he's been building up throughout the war, as well as the fact that he relived his childhood trauma, there's basically no way for Tigry to be saved from the situation. So as a final resort, Tigry decides to leave and run away. Surprisingly, he manages to run away from the trenches to a nearby metro, which he later took shelter and rested. But he knows he couldn't stay there much longer, so he leaves his military uniform and goes to another place to stay, which he ends up in the alleys, hoping to find Rash, but of course he ends up being infected, since this is also where the infection takes place. So Tigry ends up trying to keep warm next to a fire, but luckily for him, a wolf named Willow recently escaped jail since the police have gotten infected. Willow offers to help Tigry and gives him a scarf and is looking for recruits, since she's forming the Silver Paw, also known as TSP. Many months pass after the infection broke out, and more people start to join TSP in order for their own survival. And as more and more people join TSP, the easier it is for them to take over refineries, facilities, and factories in order to give these members a place to stay, which led to people getting relocated into other places in order for newer people to get a place to stay. So Tigry, along with the original group of TSP, spent the first couple months of the infection in the factory before getting relocated into the refinery. And during this time, TSP hasn't been the nicest to Tigry and hasn't showed him much attention, since he feels worthless because TSP doesn't let him have a chance to show how useful he can really be. Later, TSP gets a radio connection with the Safe Place group and tells them to meet in the Old Oak. But now that I think about it, these two groups sound very similar. The Silver Paw, the Safe Place group, TSP, TS, oh my god. Anyways, they meet up in the Old Oak and meet the ex-member Pony, along with Zizzy and the player. They take Zizzy away and lock her up with an infected in the refinery. Later, the player and Pony follow TSP to go rescue Zizzy, and Tigry finds them and chases after them in order to prove to his group that he can be useful, but unfortunately, he fails. Zizzy was let out and unfortunately got attacked by an infected, but she created a distraction by blowing the place up so both the player and Pony can have a chance to escape, while all the members are distracted by the explosion. And because of the refinery getting destroyed, Willow, the leader of the Silver Paw, had to relocate multiple members of TSP in order for these members to have a place to stay, and then goes to find the Safe Place group in order to get revenge, and Tigry doesn't go for some reason, and then the Safe Place group gets captured and placed in a jail cell. And it's during this time, the original group of TSP starts to question if what they're doing is even the right thing to do, and Tigry has noticed that the purpose of this group has changed, and he's wondering what went wrong. Eventually, the Safe Place group escapes the cell, and Tigry notices them and considers taking them out, but refuses, and Willow comes up behind him, calling him useless for not doing anything, and then proceeds to shoot Pony, but ends up hitting Giraffe, which leads to the events of the factory chapter. While these events take place, Tigry sneaks away into Willow's office and takes the key to a boat, while Willow tries to catch the player. Also, there's a small possibility that Tigry probably trapped all the TSP members as a sort of revenge, as a sort of payback for being mean to him, but that's just speculation. Anyways, eventually Willow was defeated and the players saved the TSP members. Willow comes back and was about to shoot the player, but the members that were saved tell her to stop, and Z and Zuzi later return to reunite with the group. And as Willow is distracted, Tigry disarms her by throwing his dagger at her gun at a distance, which also shows his skill since he was in the military. But after he disarms her, he decides to make his way to the bow since he's tired of being called a useless tiger. And from there he leaves TSP and starts to head north since he probably overheard a cure was being developed in the radio of Willow's office. After Tigry makes it to the docks, he later explores the place and eventually meets Player for the third time and has a conversation with them and tries to convince the player to leave Willow and join him into finding a cure since he wants to save Raj, which the player denies, but Tigry tells the player that his offer still stands before leaving. From there, Tigry makes his way to the military camp, which is infested with infected, but it's not a problem for him since he knows how to defend himself. He later breaks into the lab to find a cure, but then realizes there's also creatures running around the lab, so he starts to place TNT all over the place, which he probably got from the military camp since there's also TNT laying around there. And as Tigry finishes placing the last TNT, Willow and the Safe Place group show up to also find a cure, and it doesn't take long until Willow and Tigry start beefing with each other until eventually having a 1v1. The dynamite that Tigry placed around starts to go off and exploding the place, which leads to the events of the lab chapter. Willow and Tigry still continue their duel, which Willow eventually wins, and before Willow decides to finish Tigry off, the player manages to find a way through the rubble and convince Tigry and Willow to stop fighting, and the three of them exit the place to meet up with the others. Eventually the military comes because of a distress call and calls Willow and Tigry a deserter and a criminal. And as the group was about to go with the military, members of the Insolence, that are confirmed by the wiki, pop out of the ground and try to stop them from escaping, and of course the events of the hidden ending takes place, but that's not important for now. Anyways, after Tio proves once again that he has a skill issue, like the dumbass he is, Willow and Tigry put their differences aside and decide to go on their own adventures, parting ways with the Safe Place group, and I assume they make their way back to the factory to get their stuff because there is no way in hell they're gonna survive with basically nothing, since Willow no longer has her gun because Pony has it. But anyways, on their way, Tigry gets some flashbacks after seeing an old poster laying on the ground, which gives him PTSD. But then Willow and Tigry share a special moment together, and Willow shows that she does care about Tigry, but tells him to forget about it as Tigry keeps asking her why. And from there, they make their way towards their next adventure in the Tigry and Willow spin-off game. So in conclusion, this is the ultimate Tigry timeline. But anyways, comment down below what you guys think of this, and what other characters do you want an ultimate timeline of. But anyways, follow me on Twitter, Roblox, all that good shit. Leave a like and subscribe for more ultimate Piggy timelines. And like always, have a good rest of your day.